Welcome back to Blue Rush, our New York Giants podcast for the New York Post. I'm Giants Super Bowl champ Brandon London. And of course, I'm joined by the usual crew again. It's two-time Giants Super Bowl champion kicker Lawrence Tynes and Giants beat writer for the Post, Paul Schwartz. The legend of Tommy Cutlets lives on. The Italian kid from Jersey did it again Monday night. Tommy DeVito led the Giants down the field, ending with a Randy Bullock field goal to give the Giants a 24-22 win over the Packers Monday night at MetLife Stadium. Big Blue's third straight win, and now DeVito's third straight, 3 in a row for the kid. The Giants improved to 5-8, and somehow, some way, he's telling me there's a chance in this NFC playoff race. Gentlemen, Tommy DeVito joins us right now. Paul, Tommy, welcome to the show, sir.
I appreciate you guys having me. A little sore from last night. No, in all seriousness, I got my horn. I'm warding off the Malocchi. You guys know I'm married to an Italian, so I deal with this all the time. This is not mine. The T-shirt is, but my wife, this whole Italian Sicilian thing, they wear these horns when they feel like the evil eye is on them. They call it warding off the Malocchi. In Scotland, we didn't have things like this, so we just fought everything. We just, we don't go to little trinkets to ward off our enemies. But on a serious note, guys, that there's, the thing I'm more impressed with about Tommy DeVito is not the whole backstory, which I think is fun, is he is really taking care of the football. Like, not putting up gaudy numbers, used his legs a lot last night. But if you really think back to this 3-game win streak, taking care of the football is easier said than done in the NFL. You guys know that. The defensive lineman swatting at you in the pocket, misreading coverages. He has done everything well. So very, very happy for the team to keep fighting, right? 2-8 is a nasty looking record. Yeah. 5-8 shows you what kind of coach Brian Daboll is and talent evaluator. Let me ask you this question. If Tommy DeVito was the starting quarterback at Alabama the last 2 years, would Tommy DeVito have been the number 1 pick in the NFL draft?
Well, he's 20. You know what? He's 25 years old, and I think we're seeing a little bit of that. You know what I mean? That this is not some 21-year-old wide-eyed rookie who doesn't know what's going on. Look, nobody expected this. Brian Daboll did not expect this. Joe Shane did not expect this. Mike Kafka and Shea Tierney, the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach, did not expect this. So, this is
what though? Like, what are you saying? Expect? He hasn't done anything like wow. Like
he's had 3 straight games with over a 100 quarterback rating. They did not expect
he's that. He's just taking care of the ball.
Yeah, but no, he's making plays. He's improving. I mean, he did not take a sack this game after being a sack festival before this. Now, the offensive line played better, but, they made an adjustment at halftime. Brian Daboll, and look, 3-4 weeks ago, we're talking about this coaching staff is going to look completely different next year. And now, Brian Daboll about 5 times singled out Mike Kafka for play calls, for helping with the quarterback. He said, the offensive line coach, Bobby Johnson, and Mike Kafka and he were talking at halftime about the adjustment they needed to make. And they said, look, Tommy's got to take off. We see these plays, those options that Daniel Jones, he put the ball in Matt Breida's gut twice and then took it on runs. You know what I mean? So, they made the adjustment. Tommy DeVito was able to do it. Isaiah Hodgins was stunned on that 26-yard run where DeVito really stuck his foot in the ground and made a move on a guy and almost powered into the end zone. Hodgins said, that's a running back play there. Yeah. So, look, They did not expect that this undrafted rookie would play at this level. I mean, no one did. That he is not only managing the game and he's not killing us. He's making game-winning plays. Look, you guys know. You guys played with quarterbacks. You watch these quarterbacks. There's separators, right? First touchdown, first win, first whatever, first fourth quarter comeback, right? The Eli Manning special. How many times did you guys practice this in training camp? All right, guys, here's the scenario, right? We're down 133 to go. We got 2 timeouts. We need a field goal. Go, right? And the clock is up there. You're in Albany, wherever you are, and bang. DeVito went 4 for 4 for 53 yards. I mean,
Nobody answered my question. Nobody. You don't think this kid is the quarterback at Alabama? He's the number one pick?
No.
You're crazy. He's better than Bryce Young right now.
No.
He is better than Bryce Young right now.
No,
Go look at the numbers.
He has more than Bryce Young. Right? I don't want to take away from the kid, but he has more. No. He is playing better than Bryce Young right now.
You guys are blind. If you don't watch Bryce Young, Bryce Young is a train wreck.
Well,
absolute train wreck. I'm not saying he can't get better, but Tommy DeVito is at Alabama the last 2 years. I'm just giving a hypothetical because I think it's fun. No question is he a first-round pick. Go look at the guys drafted in front of him. There's 14 quarterbacks, I believe. No one has more wins than him except C.J. Stroud.
But at 6'1", not very. At least Bryce Young is athletic.
Bryce Young's 5'8".
Yeah, but he's
Brandon, did you just had 80 yards rushing and you're saying he's not athletic? Oh my God!
Hold on. So you saying
he just had 70 yards rushing? He's not athletic.
Because Green Bay wasn't playing the pool. His rushes came off for scrambles and pulls, not designed, not really.
So he just accidentally fell into 70 yards rushing and had
I'm not going to say the kid's not athletic. I'm not putting him up there with Bryce Young though. Let's not do that. Remember, he's 25 years old right now. Tynes, like he's doing what he's supposed to do right now.
Hold on. If he is a first-round pick, if he's a first-round pick right now, then he's the starting quarterback next year for the Giants, right? If he's that kind of a player, you ready to say that game one, Daniel Jones, whether he's ready or not, that Tommy DeVito's your starting quarterback?
No, but I think it's fun to talk about.
It's definitely fun to talk about.
If he goes, hey, we all know what's going to happen if he wins these next 4 games.
They're still going to draft the quarterback, or they're still going to bring somebody in.
Mr. Agent Man's going to be on that phone.
If he wins these next 4 games, okay.
Oh my God.
And which won't happen, by the way. But if he does,
you never know.
But if he does, look, and it's not about him winning the next 4 games because he could play great and they could lose to the Eagles. You know what I mean? I think we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. And look, it's a great story. It saved the Giants season. It saved our podcast. It saved the New York Post back page. I mean, I didn't think a cutlet above was going to be a back page. A back page.
A cutlet above.
A cutlet above. You know what I mean? It is an incredible story. Incredible. Yeah. And there's no need to throw any cold water on it at all.
Nope.
But there's also, I don't think, a need to make it more than what it is right now. It is a great story. And yes, he is not just a novelty act. He's playing great football. But 3 games does not a career make. But I'm hell of a story.
Tynes, you know what I like most about it? Remember my rookie year, what you guys are saying to the rookies, like midway through the season, you guys are saying, like, you guys aren't rookies anymore. You guys need to know and know. You need to know your playbook. You need to be on time. You need to be acting like a professional. You guys used to say that to the Aaron Rosses, to the Steve Smith, Ahmad Bradshaws, all those guys. And you're seeing that. You're seeing this guy more than halfway through the season. You saw him, remember when he was hitting Cole Beasley all throughout the preseason. He was like, oh, man, this kid understands the concepts of the offense. He's getting it. And then you see them not really let him throw the ball downfield, the Jets, and you just see how far he's come since then. Remember in the pregame show, I was saying he can't be an emoji. He has to be a GIF. He has to be able to move around. That's exactly what he's done. He's added an entire another layer to what he's been able to do with this offense. You can tell he sits with Mike Kafka, Brian Dable, whoever, and tells them what plays he's with, what plays he's comfortable with, what he likes, because he picks a receiver of the day. First was Jalen Hyatt. The other game now is Wan'Dale Robinson. He knows who he wants to go to, what throws he feels comfortable with, and now they added a different dimension to him with him running the ball. I'm here for the storyline, man. I agree with you, Tynes. Like, I am here for this storyline. I'm here to watch this kid grow because at the end of the day, as an undrafted free agent, I wish I even had any types of a B London cutlet, a B London burger. Give me something, Tynes. You know what I'm saying? Hey. But at the end of the day, man, I root for this kid because of that. And it's exciting to watch everybody in Giant Stadium go like
it's
this.
Unreal. I saw Joe Shane in the post-game locker room. Joe Shane is doing the finger purse. I was watching Victor Cruz and Sean O'Hara on the post-game, 2 undrafted free agents. It's a phenomenal story. And I think what fans may be getting sick of, the ones that want to like tweet at you and stuff, they're jealous. Like, this kid's getting a lot of attention, but I'll tell you what, he's really handled it the right way.
Yeah.
And I think there's a little bit of hidden bonus here this week. It's a good thing they're on a short week, because my God, if you would have given this kid a day and a half off, right, after winning on a Sunday, 3 in a row, Monday, you come in, but all day Monday night, Tuesday, you're off. People would have pulled this kid in a million directions.
Oh, yeah.
So the fact that they play again on Sunday, I think, is a good thing for them just to get back to work. But you can tell he takes this job seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And he is a good player. He's got a quick release. He throws it well. The back shoulder to Wandell. Wandell, by the way, can we give that young man his flowers? Because
absolutely,
finally, almost like a coming out party, 100 total yards rushing. This is what they envisioned him, right? Those jet sweeps, maybe some big plays. And, man, he really is a great route runner. Can't wait to see him. I guess he tweeted last night, I guess a year ago, he was headed to L.A. for surgery on his ACL. That's incredible what he's accomplished in such a short time from ACL surgery. So you're seeing guys grow. Hyatt drops a ball early, didn't really factor into the game. Might have taken some coverage with them last night to let guys get open. But overall, Saquon, had the unfortunate incident of the fumble. That was a weird play. There was a lot of weird plays, like the special teams fumbles, both teams missed field goals. It was just a bizarre game. The way the guy reached out and got a first down on fourth down. There was the catch the kid made from Green Bay. Can we talk about that catch that kid made for the touchdown, the go-ahead? Incredible. Like that throw and catch by the pylon. The play of Pinnock knocking the ball out. I mean, it was a bizarre game. But the kids won 3 in a row, and they go to New Orleans with a real chance at winning 4. I mean, that team's not great.
It's interesting that how there's offshoots from these stories. You know what I mean? And one of these, last year we gave Brian Daboll and Kafka a lot of credit for helping in Daniel Jones' development, right? They didn't draft him. They have him as their starting quarterback, and okay, he's not turning the ball over now. He's making good decisions. Wouldn't it be something if Daboll's best work here so far is how he's helped develop Tommy DeVito, right? He inherited Daniel Jones. They didn't draft Tommy DeVito, but they signed him as an undrafted free agent. So it's like a draft pick almost.
Yep.
And the way that, he's the third guy. So, Daboll said, look, he doesn't get the reps. He doesn't get the time. You got Daniel, you got Tyrod Taylor. So every Thursday, Daboll would have Tommy DeVito in his office and they would talk. So, Daboll said, look, he doesn't get the reps. He doesn't get the time. You got Daniel, you got Tyrod Taylor. So every Thursday, Daboll would have Tommy DeVito in his office and they would talk. They would talk through situations and plays. He'd give him 45 minutes or an hour. He said, he's a number 3 guy. He doesn't get this. So we got to try to develop this young guy. And that could have been just, 45 minutes a week that nobody knew and nobody saw because DeVito never played. He was just on the practice squad. The little things, right? You guys, as players, the little things that nobody sees, right? So then, his development might be, we always wondered, man, I wonder if Brian Daboll wants his own quarterback to draft and bring up. Maybe it's Tommy DeVito. It's great. And you mentioned, Lawrence, you mentioned Wandell. Brandon, you get a chance to look at his route on the 32-yard catch. I mean, look, they're coming down the field. He throws a short one, right? 5 yards. He throws a short one to Saquon. He throws a 9-yarder to Slayton. He gets out of bounds. Great play. But at some point, even with the timeouts, they had time, but you're going to need some kind of a chunk, right? To kind of really get in that field goal range comfortable. Did I expect it to be that play? No. Can you describe, he's in the slot and he rubbed off that defender in the slot and it's almost like bye-bye, it was a tremendous.
Hey, Brandon, Dable called it a boat route. I've never heard of that.
Sail route. I talked to Wandell.
He called it a boat. Oh, so that's what he means.
Yeah.
He said boat. He said boat route.
Boat. Okay, that's sail then.
In the press.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what he means. Okay.
So I talked to Wandell before he ran into the locker room, and I was like, "Yo, give me something for the postgame show or whatever." I was like, "What route was that?" He was like, "He ran a sail route. He jumped inside." So in the sail route, you got the post, you got the skinny post. If you get any sort of hard press or roll coverage, safety over the top, usually it's mandatory outside release. You want to turn that corner's back. You want to run up out of there. then number 3, you saw Saquon run to the flats. That's a flat to control, let's say cover 2. It's to hold that corner right there, flat defender. Wandale did a great job. And Sterling Shepard worked a lot with Wandale last year in his route techniques and all. So shout out to Sterling Shepard on this one. You went inside to try and go inside to lose yourself, to get that backer or that flat defender to run to Saquon in the flat. The guy jumped inside. Wandale did a great job not getting trapped inside, went back to the outside, got vertical to say for the spacing and the timing, and then broke it off right there. I was standing right there with Paul Dottino. He flicked the ball. I didn't want to pick it up to get in trouble like Tyreek Hill's cameraman when he pulled the phone. I didn't want to get in trouble by the NFL. So I stood there. And like you said, those are the type of plays. And for Tommy DeVito to know that and to understand that, to hold there and wait for his guy to jump inside, to get back outside and get back to his spot. Everybody is showing up and making some sort of play. Would you like to see bigger numbers by a receiver? Would you like to see a guy with 150 and 2 touchdowns? Absolutely, but this is not that type of offense. And it's that route. And what you said, Tynes, about Wan'Dale Robinson really coming into his own. Remember, this administration or this front office caught heat for trading up for him. And you're starting to see why they went and grabbed certain guys. I want this guy to do X, Y, Z. I want this guy to be this guy. They're putting their pieces in the place, and it's all moving forward. Does it all fall into play this year? Maybe, maybe not. But you see the pieces being put into play for down the road. But we gotta, before we move on from that one, it's DeVito, 17 for 21, 158, 1 touchdown, 10 rushes, 71 yards. Robinson, 6 receptions, 79 yards, 2 rushes, 36 yards. Isaiah Hodgins, 2 for 22 with a touchdown. Saquon Barkley, 20 for 86, 2 touchdowns, 3 receptions, 15 yards. Do we ever think you guys would be doing a show where we would say Tommy DeVito kind of bailed out Saquon Barkley? That was a costly fumble, and I do not want his night to be dampened by that. But as an athlete, Tynes, as the man in the arena, you know that's going to destroy your night. You can't really enjoy that win because of that fumble.
Yeah, that was just one of those unfortunate plays. Like I thought he was down, but then I remembered, Eli had one of those kind of fumbles against the Eagles on like a Sunday Night Football. He was running around. I don't know, Paul, if you remember this. He's running. Eli didn't run much, but he ran, kind of broke the line of scrimmage and got out in front, and he fell and fumbled Eagles football. It's just one of those crazy rules. It doesn't happen very often, but he was not touched, nor was he giving himself up. But I think he had almost 60, 70 yards rushing in the fourth quarter. And if you go back and look over this win streak, he did the same thing against Washington. They got to get going earlier in the run game. You felt like this offense got better once he was able to, and give Breida a lot of credit too. He had some really nice little chunk runs in there too. So once they were able to start running the football, it's got to happen sooner though. He had the really big run to start the game off, 9-10 yards. And then they just got smashed. A lot of pre-snap penalties. But I likened it to this. 2 weeks off. They looked a little tentative. It takes a little while to get your pads popping again. Right, Brandon? Like 2 weeks off. It looked like that. It looked like it took them a little while to get going again. And then defensively, Tay Banks, my God, sure, he's going to give up a play or two every once in a while. But, man, he is very sticky in coverage. Cordell Flott did not have his best game. It looks like they picked on him a little bit last night. But Adoree Jackson and Tay Banks, some phenomenal plays. That play that Adoree Jackson made in the end zone to get him out, sure, they eventually scored. Pinnock, I want to like him and anoint him. He misses too many tackles, man. He's a great athlete, and he makes a lot of plays, hence the knocked out ball in the end zone. But, man, he will just throw his shoulder in there. He does not wrap up a lot. So that's something you can fix. But overall, man, the defense, again, Dexter on limited snap count. Special teams had their issues, but they had some really positive plays, too, with the turnover that led to a touchdown and, of course, the game-winning field goal. The Cager play, I know people want to make a story about that. It didn't affect the damn game. Like, Did we want to see him? And you know this from having been there with McGahee, Brandon. 1,000% Cager has been taught and shown when that ball's right there, put 1 foot out of bounds, 1 foot in, catch the ball. It's a kickoff out of bounds.
Yeah.
How many times has McGahee or Quinn, when we played, taught us that? Every week, they'll just remind
Everybody
you.
knows to do that.
So Cager just made a flub.
Yep.
That was just bad luck on Bobby McCain's part.
Yep.
That happens. But again, positive impacts on the turnover that led to a touchdown, and then Randy Bullock redeeming himself to kick a game-winning field goal.
Paul, this defense, 326 total yards allowed, 19 first downs allowed. The Packers were 5 of 14 on third down, 4 sacks, 3 takeaways, 3 forced punts. I mean, whatever beef Brian Dable and Wink Martindale, whatever so-called beef, they keep that beef going, because Wink Martindale and this defense, Paul, has been playing lights out.
Well, first of all, 12 takeaways in the last 3 games. Okay, that is a NFL high. I think they have more takeaways in the last 4 weeks than any team in the league, and they did not play one of those weeks. You know what I mean? So they have the most in 3 games, and other teams have in 4 games. I will say that a play that we have not talked about yet that does not statistically appear anywhere was one of the 3 or 4 biggest plays in the game, and that was the failed 2-point conversion. Okay. Yeah. Now you don't get a tackle, right? Bobby Okereke does not get a tackle on that, right? That's not a, it's not an official play, right? It's a 2-point conversion,
which is ridiculous, by the way.
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it? I mean,
it is.
Yeah, you can rush in and sack the quarterback, and it's like, oh, that's
no
just
sack.
It's nothing, right? It just says failed 2-point conversion. But look, they just Saquon, and I want to talk about, after I talk about this, I just want to mention Saquon a second. But that is an incredible. You guys, the coaches always talk to you about sudden change, right? You guys got to react, and sudden change. That was one of the biggest sudden changes you've ever seen. The Giant, he's running down the field to clinch the game, and all of a sudden the other guy's running 50 yards, and half the players on the field are like standing. We don't know what's going on here. So that's a sudden change. The defense tries their best, but they cannot prevent the touchdown. So now you're down by a point. You're obviously going for 2 if you're the Packers, and it's a whole different thing. You're up by 3. DeVito gets the ball. You go down here and kick a field goal. Now you're going into overtime. It's a whole different mindset. Remember Eli said, I always loved being down 5. I'm going because we're not down 3. We're not thinking about a field goal. We got to score a touchdown. Okay, I'm digressing a little bit, but you got a 2-point conversion, right? And they got all the momentum, the Packers. They run that little, what is it, like an inside handoff jet sweep to Reed, right? And I think a version of that, if I'm correct, they ran untouched for the touchdown, for the first touchdown, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Giants are looking inside. He's don't even know who has the ball. So they're reeling on defense. Half this, 30,000 Packer fans screaming in the building, and all of a sudden, bang! Bobby Okereke dissects it, drops him. A little bit of momentum shift. Now you're down a point. Now, holy cow! We come down and kick a field goal. We win the game. Okereke said they ran it a few times early in the game. Yep. I kind of sensed it was coming. He said, that's the way we have to play situational football. So that is an unheralded non-tackle in the stats. It was a great play.
That was the Packers' best play last night, Paul. That jet sweep, my God, they averaged 12 yards a carry on that. If I had to go back and look, it was like they saw something on film. You saw a bunch of teams have been doing that to this Wink Martindale defense. So
they want to get
whatever
outside.
It is,
they want
to get outside, and it's fine. But again, if you look at the overall numbers of this defense, like you mentioned, the takeaways and the way they're playing, they can be a frustrating defense to watch because they give up free runners like after the catch, like A.J. Dillon had some, and then that tight end who I don't even think it was their young rookie, but they do that. But man, do they buckle down in the red zone? They confuse quarterbacks. And
Azeez Ojulari, how many times?
I saw him this year? Right? Not a lot, but it's good to see him. Maybe he's finally getting healthy. Winning makes your ankles and shoulders feel a little bit better than losing, right? When you're winning, it's like an elixir. It's good to see him. Maybe he's finally getting healthy. Winning makes your ankles and shoulders feel a little bit better than losing, right? When you're winning, it's like an elixir in your body that makes all these little aches and pains go away. And they'll be challenged. We'll talk about on the pregame show in New Orleans. But man, this is a winnable football game.
Yep.
It really is going to be a winnable game down in the Dome, and it's going to test Tommy DeVito, really his first true road game, right? Washington, I guess the Raiders, but this will be a different atmosphere down there in New Orleans.
I just wanted to mention something about Saquon because, how many times have we talked about over the years that, the Giants needed Saquon to put on his Superman cape and be the hero, right? And they cannot overcome even, anything negative from Saquon. So, he 32-yard run, the game is going to be over. You know what happened? The guy hit his ankles and so there was contact, but he maintained, possession and regrouped. So it was like almost like that contact doesn't matter anymore. And then he trips over himself and fumbles. I mean, it's just, and the fact that they were able to overcome that and win, Saquon was, clearly he called it inexcusable. He was very down on himself after the game for that. And he knows that in his Giants career, 98% of the time, that is a loss. You make a horrific mistake like that, you cannot overcome it, period. And they overcame it. And somebody, asked them, well, Randy Bullock kind of bailed you out there. And he said, whatever he wants. He wants a steak dinner. He said, tell him, hit me up, whatever we need. We can go to Carbone, whatever he wants, any restaurant in New York. Let me know. So, I mean, I would also say he should bring DeVito and Wandale along for that.
Do you think Randy Bullock has Saquon's phone number? Like I would have Saquon's phone number if I was in the locker room. You think Randy Bullock has that? No chance. No chance.
You can walk down in the locker room and say, excuse me, Mr. Barkley.
Man.
I don't know if we've met before. My name's Randy. I kicked the game winner the other day. I read where you said that you might take me out to dinner.
I definitely. We've been giving a lot of flowers to everyone, guys, and let's give credit where credit's due. This offensive line was not great early. Good. They weren't. But, man, the numbers, look, no sacks. Tommy DeVito was excellent with his legs. Did anybody hear Rashawn Gary's name all night? I didn't.
No.
I swear to God, I didn't hear him. I didn't hear his name. And that guy is a phenomenal pass rusher, whether it was Tyree Phillips or Andrew Thomas over there. They had their issues. But you got to give a lot of credit to this coaching staff. I know when we're losing, everyone's a free for all on targeting these guys. But man, there has to be a lot of credit given to the entire staff, including one Bobby Johnson, who has been on everyone's dartboard. They played well, man, and this is a testament to the coaches keeping this locker room together at 2-8.
Yeah, great job. Absolutely phenomenal job. Like not only with the X's and O's, but like you said, keeping that locker room together, keeping guys galvanized. And then, sometimes, Paul, we go into the locker room and talk to the players. I'm like, man, these dudes are on like a 4-game losing streak. You sure you should be playing ping pong right now? Like it's a little bit too much ping ponging going. Play away right now because this team understands their culture. They understand their identity. And it's like there was no need to kind of throw the season away and bring in your golf bag. It was like, no, we're going to still kind of stay loose, try and fix what we can fix, and then, play this season out the way that they want to play it out. You go to the Saints, you go to the Eagles on Christmas Day, then you have the Rams at home, then you have the Eagles at home. 4 very tough games to close out the season, but if they win out, they've got a great chance of making the playoffs. Final thoughts on, going into these last 4 game guys, and then we'll throw it to the Scotsman to close this out. Tynes,
just a tough listen, one at a time, right? New Orleans is probably the most winnable game on paper to end this season. You've got some really tough ones. Do not look ahead to any of those other games because injuries can happen. We don't know what's going to happen to those teams before you play them, but tough one in New Orleans. It's always a tough place. I don't think I've ever won a game there, to be honest with you. I played there 4 or 5 times. Don't think I ever won there. I don't care how good the team was or wasn't. It's just a very, very difficult place to play. So they'll be challenged, but I think momentum is real in the NFL. We can all agree on that. And this team believes, they're not out of it. They're right there, 1 game away from playoff contention. So having belief this late in the season is good for players. It's good for practice. It's good for the organization. It's good for us. And so they've been fun to watch. The DeVito story is nice, but again, he is a pretty good football player.
I am not going to lean in with both shoulders into the playoff thing. And you know what? The players aren't either. Not that they're not looking at it, but to their credit, they were not, we are out of this, 1 or 2 games ago, mathematically we're not. Everything, Daboll told them this week, everything we want is right out there to play for, but it's understated. See, when it's the roller coaster, right? You guys know about play the roller coaster. Oh my God, we're out of it. Now we're back in it. They have not said, oh my God, we're out of it. They have not said, oh my God, we're in it. They're kind of, okay, like Kayvon after the game. Oh, he said, I'm kind of, what is the deal with that? Well, you're 1 game out. Oh, 1 game out. That's good. Then let's keep going. Good. Look, there's a lot of teams. The Packers are 6-7. The Seahawks are 6-7. The Saints are 6-7. The Rams are 6-7. The Falcons are 6-7, and the Giants are 1 game behind all those teams. And for the last spot, the Packers right now are at 7. So look, this is the NFL. A team that's under 500 is in the playoff push. It's right now in playoff position. And, the odds of them leaping over those teams, all those teams is, incredibly low. But they're 5-8. They were 2-8. So it's fun to talk about. It's the holiday season. It's better than talking about coaching firings and disasters and who you're going to take. Look, hasn't been a lot of talk about who they're going to take in the first round. Has there the last couple of weeks, as that first round draft pick gets, goes from 2 to 3 to 4 to 6 or 8 or whatever it is now. So this is the healthier discussions to have. And it's really a gift because from where they were, having to, when they were flying to Dallas, I remember flying to Dallas knowing, oh, they got to start, Tommy DeVito was first start. It's not going to go well. It went horribly. And I'm thinking, boy, this is a really, really bad situation. They haven't lost since then. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, if I'm in that locker room, I would tell the guys, we saw what they wrote and what they said about us when we lost 3-4 straight. Now we see everybody jumping back on. It's like Mike Jones. Who was Mike Jones? Back then they didn't want me. Now I'm hot. They all on me. It's just one of those things where you got to stay together in that locker room and don't think about the playoffs. Just play 1 game at a time. But if I'm Saquon Barkley at the next team meeting, I jump up there. I thank the defense for kind of getting us going, bailing us out in a way. And I tell them, offense is going to have your back because the defense can't continue to grab turnover off of turnover. So it's one of those things where I think we see Saquon take over for these next 4 games. I see him trying to put this team and will this team to those playoffs and get this team to this playoffs. But again, like we said, 1 win at a time. They go down to the Big Easy, to the Big NO down there, and hopefully they can go down there and get a win against the Saints to keep this thing going. What a game. The Giants go to 5-8. We close this thing out. Happy Hanukkah to all of our Jewish listeners and to those who celebrate. Paul, happy Hanukkah to you and your family. We're going to preview the Giants matchup against the Saints in the Big Easy on Thursday on the Blue Rush Preview Podcast. But let's throw it to the Scotsman because we heard from Italian Tynes. Now let's hear it from the Scotsman to close out this happy Victory Tuesday Blue Rush Podcast.
All right. Well, I'm going to, transform into my Scottish guy after warding off the Maloki. And that says cheerio to episode 170 with a wee bit of finger purse of Blue Rush, our New York Giants podcast from the New York Post. Thanks to Jake Brown, Andrew Hartz, and our favorite intern, Mason Verdecchio, for producing the show. Subscribe to Blue Rush on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your pods. Watch full episodes by subscribing to the New York Post Sports YouTube page, a tongue twister as it is. Just follow the Blue Rush playlist. Give us a wee thumbs up or a finger purse if that's available, and comment below. How are you liking the Italian stallion, Tommy DeVito? For Brandon London, Paulie Schwartz, I'm Lawrence Tynes. We'll return on Thursday as the Giants match up in New Orleans down in the Bayou against the Shite Saints. You fit it in, Jake. That's wonderful. I had to get a wee shite in there. Thanks for listening to Blue Rush, folks. Stay safe and don't eat shite.